Are you looking for all the functionality of an Android Auto or Apple CarPlay touchscreen Bluetooth monitor with a built-in dash camera and capability for a rear camera without having to completely withdraw and replace your existing deck like we did in our last video? Then the Carpuride W903 might be just the unit for you. In this video, we are going to go through all of its features. We're going to install it on the dashboard of my 2018 Ram ProMaster work van. If you stay tuned, all my Land Rover LR3 viewers, I'm going to show you how you could put it into that vehicle using its auxiliary input. And then we are going to take it for a test drive. We're going to look at the quality of the dash cam video and the user interface, all after this intro.
Obsession.
Brought to you by Waffle Square.
Hi, I'm Mike. Welcome to my Waffle Square, where I obsess about things and you get to benefit from it. Well, in my previous video, I removed the old existing stereo deck out of the Land Rover LR3 that I am refurbishing for my daughter Aspen, and I replaced it with a brand new Alpine wireless system that had Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in it. And that video was very popular. I had a lot of questions and comments about it. Several people reached out and said it might be easier just to put a wireless Bluetooth monitor in it. So when Carpuride emailed me and offered to send me this unit for free for my independent review, I jumped at the chance. Now this is my 2018 Ram ProMaster van. It is a work/travel van that I'm doing a complete build out series on my other YouTube channel. If you're interested in seeing me do the insulation on the floors, put in a subfloor, insulate the walls, put in these windows on the sides and the rear, put up solar and battery banks in the back, as well as put in a refrigerator, microwave, all that kind of stuff is happening in the build series right up here where this link is. Also, I'll have it at the end of the video. So full disclosure, I am neither paid nor sponsored by Carpuride. They did reach out to me after seeing our last video and offer to send me this unit for free for my independent review. So let's get started. We'll unbox it, take a look at all the features, and install it in my van. I'm pretty impressed with the packaging. You get a combination of the cardboard, foam padding, and every single piece you see here has its own Ziploc baggie. Pretty nice. All right, here's everything that comes in the package. You have the unit itself. It's a very short but long screen. On the back of it is the front-facing camera. That actually rotates up and can be twisted around for the driver or passenger, or if you have a view out the driver's window so you get pulled over, something like that. Then we have the backup camera right here. It has a 3.5 jack that goes into the side of the main unit, plus a red cord that is to supply it power. You have mounting hardware for the camera. Then we have the first of two ways to mount the unit. This is the suction cup mount here, so you have full adjustability there if you want to put it in the window or anywhere like that. This head also adjusts. If you don't want to attach it to glass, you can mount this disc that's included with 3 screws anywhere, and then the suction cup will affix to that mounting plate. The plate I'm most interested in is this one that's going to go on our dashboard, and this one is very flexible, so that's pretty cool. It also comes with double-sided adhesive to adhere it to the bracket and then to the dashboard. Over here you have an auxiliary jack, so if you don't want to use the Bluetooth functionality, you can instead use an auxiliary jack if the vehicle you're putting it in has one of those. We have the manual, and lastly over here we have the power supply. So the included power supply is a cigarette lighter adapter. And it's kind of cool that it has a standard USB coming out of it. And then it has a long cable and the USB-C adapter that's going to plug directly into the unit. So as I'll show you in a little bit, I'm actually going to purchase a different USB-C cable that is 90 degrees, but not 90 degrees this way, but 90 degrees facing down. And I think that'll give us the sleekest assembly. And then I also want it to go straight to standard USB rather than having to route it to one of the cigarette lighter adapters in the van. So that is going to be on order. I'll show it to you in a bit, and I'll leave a link for what I purchased in the description below. Let's take a better look at this side of the rear here where you have all the various ports. So this is the USB-C that you connect power to. This is the audio visual in where the rear camera will go. It comes with a micro SD card already installed right here. And this one is the auxiliary jack. Then if we flip this way, you can see a reset button that you would have to put a pin in. You flip to the top of the unit, and right here is a power button. Now we could easily do this next part out at the vehicle, but this is a nice controlled lighting setting. So let's go over some of the features and what the screen looks like from right here. I'm going to plug into the USB-C. Look at that, support at carpuride.com. I like that it's got the email for help right on the home screen. Alright, so this is the screen that pops up right away, and you can see that we have CarPlay, Android Audio, AirPlay, so if you want to send something from a phone or someone else's phone in the vehicle to this screen, you can do that. Android Cast, I don't have an Android phone, so I would imagine that's the same thing as AirPlay. Then we have Wi-Fi video, audio output, and playback and settings. So let's first go to settings, and you can see in the general screen here we have the screensaver, so you can turn that off so the screensaver never goes on, or you can have it come on after 10 or 30 seconds. I'm going to leave it at the default for now. Left or right hand drive, we're in America, so I'm going to leave this the way it is with the buttons over here for me being an American driver. If you're in the UK or somewhere else, you can switch that, and then all your buttons would be over here. Split screen mode, so this is pretty cool. It's by default set at full screen mode, but if you want to go to split screen mode, you can see you get all these functionalities here split in half, and then the camera, so you have a full-time camera on. I could see that being valuable if you hook up the backup camera and you have that camera powered on so it can work at all times. That would be a pretty cool way, especially in a van like ours where we can't see out through a rear view mirror very well. Next is brightness. By default it's set to auto mode, so I'm just going to leave it there, and I can always adjust it later if I don't like that. Next we have assistive touch. So right now that's on. I'm just going to leave it on by default. Then we have clear connection, so if you had, say, your kids in the car and they wanted to play their favorite Spotify list with you on a drive, I know my older daughter loves to do that, we could connect to her phone just for that period, and then I could clear that connection if I wanted to. So let's go over to camera settings. Camera format. You can see it has a camera format of a couple different 720 and then a 1080p. By default it's set there, so I'm going to leave it at the highest as well. Record resolution. It has 720p, 1080p, and 2.5K. I'm going to go up to the highest resolution. Segment duration, so you've got a choice of 1, 3, and 5 minutes. You figure if you have an accident or something like that and you want the collision to be recorded for the police and also for downloading ease, 1 minute seems fine to me. If I ever come under a situation where that wasn't enough and I had to have several videos spliced together, maybe I'll change it, but for now I'm just going to leave that. Then we come over here to collision sensitivity. So if it senses an impact, it will mark that. Or if it's parked with power, you can have it turn on perhaps. So it's set to middle. I'll just leave it at that for now. Microphone is strictly on or off, so I'm just going to leave it on. Rear mirror image. So if you have the rear camera set up, you can hit rear mirror image and you can have that be what's on the screen instead of the front facing camera. So for now I have that turned off. And then this is so cool. So if you set up the rear camera, you can calibrate, you would get the image here, and then you can calibrate these lines wherever you want them to line up with the car, like that. Really cool, and then you would confirm it right here. So let's just cancel out of that. I like that screen a lot. Okay, language, we're going to leave it in English. That tip sound, every time you hear me doing something, it's giving you the little sound. I'll leave that on for now. If it gets annoying, we can just turn it off. Date and time. So as we are recording this, this is actually 1 day off, and we are at noon. And confirm. Easy. All right, storage info. Look at this. The unit comes with a 58 gigabyte card. If we want to format that card, you do it right there. Factory reset. If we wanted to reset every setting we had done, right there. If you want to check the firmware, that would be right there. So once we link it to our phone, I'll be interested to see if it asks us to do an update, or if that's something that has to be done like the Alpine deck where you have to download it to the card and then put it in, but we'll see. All right, let's go to the home screen from there. Now look at this. This is the camera button. So this is what this front facing camera is seeing. I wanted to go over some of the features. First of all, it's claiming 4K down there, which I don't know where they get that from, because as you saw, it was a 1080 screen and a 2K record. It was the highest, so where they're getting 4K from is kind of confusing to me. Right over here, it's a little hard to see with this white backdrop, but if I go like that, you can see the date and time right there. And then pretty good quality. You can see the box signal here. If you look right here, as you get to the outer edges of the camera, there's quite a bit of barrel distortion. Now, we are very close. This is within, say, 6 inches, so it'll be interesting to see if that is done to get a widescreen view and it looks more natural when we're looking out of the windshield and to the road, but there is quite a bit of barrel distortion on both sides. Take a look there as well as I pivot the camera and swivel it a little bit. You can see that there's a little bit of like that rolling shutter warp look to it. I don't think we'll be making turns that fast, but you can see that it is processing in such a way that you get a little bit of that warp there as it's turning. They call that rolling shutter. Let's see how it handles a brighter light. Pretty good. You don't lose any resolution here by it making up for the brightness. I will say, look at how the brightness is a little bit blown out, because in actuality this is all orange. But the way the camera's processing it, it's actually blowing out in spots. So I wonder if nighttime driving will cause an issue, but I like that nothing else is losing detail because of the brightness of the lamp. Now, if you tap on the screen while it's in camera mode, you can lock it right there. You can take a photo, a still shot of whatever the camera is seeing just by hitting that button. You can go to the home screen right there. You can set it for directly over to AirPlay. And you can, with one button, turn off the microphone. All right, let's go to home screen and then let's check playback. Now it's set at all, which would make you believe that it would show everything you've recorded, but that's actually not happening. So you have to go to video and you'll get a list of videos. As you can see here, it had the wrong date previously, so these. All right, so this is the screen that pops up right away. So there's the replay, really good quality. You can hear the audio coming right out of the unit, and there is a volume control somewhere in one of the screens, but for now it's pretty good. So let's go out of that one, and let's check the photos we took. So you remember I made that screenshot, and there that is. Now if we click on the three dots, you can see it's only asking if you want to delete it. That's not a quick way to send it to your phone or something. That would have been a really cool feature, but the only thing we have here is to delete that file. And with the video, you can lock it or delete it. All right, let's go back into settings, and now that we've set the time and everything, let's format all this stuff we were doing to get it off. Formatting will erase all the data. Confirm. All right, go back to the home screen, and the unit turns on automatically. Let's test the power button up here and see how long that takes to shut it off. Shutting down. And there we go, not too bad. All right, let's take it out to the van and start our install. Now, I happen to think the installation process on the dashboard of this van is pretty interesting, but if you're not interested in that and you want to fast forward, go right here to this timestamp and we'll just start test driving it and testing the user interface and looking at the quality of the video you get out of the dash cam. All right, this is the spot I have in mind for our Carpuride monitor. It does seem to be a little bit high up. However, I sit like way up this high looking out through this portion of the windshield, so this actually won't affect me at all in this van. Now, this area where I'm going to attach it is actually like this strange rounded clipboard, and it's not very functional at all. So I want to put it right here, and then I want to run the cable right down this break between the clipboard attachment and the actual dash. So we need to get to a couple screws that are right here. Now you can see here I have 4 of these really tiny little screwdrivers. The stems of these screwdrivers fit right into these 4 holes perfectly. And all they need to do, as you can see right here in this video, is overcome these little tabs on the sides of the deck, and at that point we can slide the whole deck out and out of our way. There's plenty of wiring here to just hold that while we do some work. Now right here are 2 T25 bits, so I've got a ridiculously long extension to get to them, but anything that I had that was shorter I was afraid was going to rub up against my work surface. So let's get in here. And because it's daylight, there was a ton of bright light coming in here, so I actually have a fabric diffuser trying to equalize the light. So if you see a little bit of movement, that's just the wind blowing that fabric. All right, with those two screws out, we can push this up and you can see this little clipboard attachment that's integrated into the dashboard. Now, if we look over here on this side, there is a little piece here I want to avoid, but I think I can drill a hole in between this side of the clipboard and down the side of this opening where there's a little flange coming out that receives this. And if I do that, our cord should come right up here. So I'm just going to take this little pencil. I'm going to mark that spot that'll be perfect for us. Now if we put this back in, right there to rest, we'll know right where to drill. So this is the cable I was talking about. It just arrived today. And we have on one side a USB-C with a 90-degree angle. So it's going to come straight off down to the bottom of the monitor. And then in this case, we're going to have 3 feet of cable to be able to fish down over to here where you can see we have a standard USB port and an auxiliary jack. So judging by the thickness of this cord, I think a 13/16 bit will be just fine. Now we can close that right back up, and that's going to give us a little bit of flexibility to get the cable right where it needs to be without having a bunch of it exposed. So I think that's going to be really nice and clean. All right, before we secure this, let's use this nice open area here, and let's put this electrical fish all the way down over in this area so we can run this cable. Now if you look at this image here, you can see I turned on the strobe light feature of a flashlight, and from up here down to the area by the steering wheel you can see the flash. So we've clearly got an open channel to fish the cable through. All right, there is the fish line coming out down by the gas and brake pedal. I'm going to attach the USB cord to it, and I'll pull it through up through to here, and then with the leftover piece I'll be able to reach down here on the steering column and bring the cable up to the USB port. And there we go, just being gentle and pulling it through. We've got our cable. And with that done, I can remove these little mini screwdrivers from the holes. I'm going to take this opportunity just to wipe down this spot where our drinks must have splashed at one time, since we're here. And then I can put the deck right back into place. Nice. Now with everything locked back into place, let's go ahead and degrease this area so we'll get good adhesion with the sticker. All right, I've let that all dry for a couple minutes, and I am going to set it straight along this line so it looks good. Now if you're worried about being able to twist the monitor one way or the other, as you can see in this close-up video, this ball joint on the mount has a lot of maneuverability, so I'm not the least bit worried about that. So let's peel back this side. There. And I'm going to line it all up, center it on that piece so it looks as good as possible, and just push it down. And I'm going to position with a slight angle bias towards the driver and tighten it down. Here's our USB cable. And as you can see in this close-up picture, it looks really clean. Here comes the really satisfying part. Nice. All right. As you can see, we are plugged into the USB port. That looks really clean. Let's click on the first step of our ignition here. Here's the radio from our deck firing up. Here's our unit firing up. A couple things about this unit. It does have Bluetooth, but it's not all that user-friendly down here, other than the radio is great. It can connect a phone wirelessly, and it does have navigation. However, the maps in here are very dated, and as you can see, my daughter likes it because we can change it to a little van, and it shows the little van turning on streets and things. But this screen compared to this nice big screen is going to be a night and day difference. Plus this one won't talk to you and give you directions, which of course Apple CarPlay will. So let's instead go over to phone. Let's go to CarPlay. Switch to CarPlay mode, confirm. All right, now we are going to go into our phone, into settings. We're going to go to Bluetooth. We're going to come down here. Here is the Carpuride coming right up. So we select that. Yes, I want to pair. I don't need my contacts to sync with it, but if you wanted to, you could allow that. And we are connected. Use with CarPlay Smart Screen, question mark? Yes, use with CarPlay Smart Screen. Now we are up and running. Now my deck is saying there's no phone connected. Do you want to pair with your phone? So rather than utilizing the auxiliary cord to come down here, which we could do if this unit wasn't Bluetooth, the Carpuride allows us to connect our existing deck to our phone as well, and they integrate with each other through the phone. It's pretty neat. So yes, let's pair a phone. Here it is, Uconnect. And we are good to go. Now when we go to media, I'm hooked to my phone. Let's go over here to maps. All right, let's see about my favorite self-service car wash. We're gonna hit go.
Starting route to Legacy Self-Serve Car Wash. Head east on West Joe-Roy Avenue.
And that
then
sound,
turn left onto South Valley View Boulevard.
and that sound is coming out of the unit itself. It's not actually coming out of our stereo.
Coming up this week on Ride the Lightning, the Tesla Motors unofficial podcast, a busy earnings report brings plenty of news. The Model S referral program gets renewed with a new...
All right, so I can control my podcasts, I can control music. If we swipe over, we have Pandora. Awesome. Don't want to get a strike, but that is a great song. So I can control everything from this screen. Now let's check out a split screen view for now and see what that's like. Cool, now we've got the camera here and we've got our CarPlay functions over here. Once I hook up the backup camera, then I could actually have this portion of the screen be the backup camera instead of looking up at my rear view mirror while having all the functionality over here on the left. Pretty cool. I say I hop over into the driver's seat. We go to full screen camera mode and let's go test out the dash cam. As you can see here, once I turn off the ignition, remove the key, this vehicle continues to send power to the USB port for about a minute or so, and then it shuts down. Just like that. Nice. So this won't be on all day long. draining our battery in our ProMaster. All right, let's take it for a drive, see how it functions when we're using the maps, see if we can get some text messages to come in and how we interact with it. Now, the nice thing about this van is because that USB port is right there, I can unplug it so it's not constantly turning on and off the machine while I'm loading and unloading tools and that sort of stuff. Once I'm at the job site and I don't want it functioning as a dash cam, I can remove that power. So let's go ahead and start it. And I'm going to hit mute on the stereo because I don't want any copyright infringements. You can see here I've got Maverick with me. He loves to go for a ride, so we'll make sure it's not getting impeded by his nose or his interest in it. So we pop right up to the same screen that we left. So we're split screen with the front camera up front. As you can see right here, because it's only that small portion of the screen, it looks to me to be quite distorted. It's really bowed this way and everything is compressed in the center, so I'm not a fan of that at all. What if we switch over to the smart screen and we go to the camera and we make it full screen? I can still see rounding down at the bottom of what is a pretty flat dashboard, but the image itself looks pretty good, and I think even though there's slight barrel distortion still, when we're this far out, I still think that's perfectly usable for replaying an accident or some other issue, say to the police or to your insurance. So that is automatically recording. Let's go home. And I want to go to CarPlay. Now from CarPlay you can see we have a message. So let me click on there. That's a group message with our
In the group with
realtor.
you and Seth. Seth liked Brooke's message. To hear the message, say read it. Reply to the group. Okay?
All right, so that is the same voice that my phone uses to give us directions. So speaking of directions, let's go here. We're gonna go get some parts for the house at a local Walmart that I know will have a couple other things I need as well. All right, there it is on my phone. What happens if I just hit go after being able to find it on my phone?
Starting route to Walmart.
I can hear it coming
Head
out.
east on West Joe Ray Avenue. Then turn right onto South Valley View Boulevard.
All right, cool. Let's do this though. Let's go to full screen. Smart screen. Setting. Split screen. Let's go back to the full screen mode. And we'll go home, CarPlay, and our maps. That's a little better. What's up, buddy? Now, what happens if I want to adjust the volume on the gentleman who's talking to us and giving us directions? Are you seeing any input when I hit the volume button here? I'm not seeing anything come up.
At the stop sign, turn right onto South Valley View Boulevard.
Does sound like it got maybe a little louder, though it didn't show any indication. And what happens if we hit this smart button over here? That's showing us volume.
Stay in the left 2 lanes.
That's all the way up. Also a home screen, brightness, and camera. Let's go to that. Cool. That takes us right to the full screen camera mode. Now, because I have the screen positioned a little bit more comfortably towards me, the camera is in its lockdown position and it's pointing slightly over towards the passenger side, which you can see is giving us quite a bit of area on the screen over here on the curb and off the roadway. Now, you may like that. That might be beneficial because a lot of times people coming out of a private drive and onto a roadway can cause an issue. But if I didn't like that and I wanted more of, say, this area over here where you can see this car in the next lane over, I could just easily turn the monitor and get that camera that way. Remember also, I can pull this up and actually dial that in a little bit better. Now forgive me for all this area being blown out and overexposed. I'm exposing for the monitor so you can get the clearest picture of what that looks like rather than the drive down the road. So to my eye, as I'm driving, this screen is pushing the images further away, such as vehicles and cars at rest and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see if that's how it translates when we transfer the video files over to our computer, if that is the same,
Turn right.
or if it's because of this compression that it's looking further away. All right, if you look right here, you can see that those brake lights that looked solid to us were actually flashing on here. So that's going to be the frame rate of this camera. All right, let's see, if we were an Uber driver, what would it be like if we turned the camera around? You can see both seats in this pretty big van are visible. So here's me on the driver's side, and then this would be any passengers that we have. The way I have the screen slanted, that camera is heading up, so we're getting a lot of the rooftop. You could easily adjust that down to get more of what's happening down at waist level if you were worried about presentation of a weapon during a robbery or something like that. All right, we're here in the parking lot, so if I wanted to kill the map, I suppose I could go to CarPlay, hit end route, and he won't be talking to us anymore. And then with a touch of this button going back to camera, boom, we're out of that. So overall, the user interface is really good. I like it. In fact, the only part of the user interface I don't care for is how you go about getting the video from the dash cam off of this unit. Now, you would think the easiest thing is to go right in here to hit playback. You could actually play it for, say, a police officer or an insurance adjuster that comes out. But when you hit that, it says CarPlay is connected. Please disconnect first. So how do we do that? If we go to Smart Screen, what do we have to do? Hit Settings, Clear Connections? Like, I don't know if I want to do that. Let's try turning off Bluetooth. Maybe that would do it. If we go back to home and then hit playback, no, it says CarPlay is connected. So that feature doesn't seem like it's working. Now, another thing you can do is pull out the SD card back here and bring it right to your computer. Well, I did that, and as you can see here, the files coming out of the Carpuride display are MPEG-2 transport stream, whatever that is, and that's not compatible with your phone nor your iPad in my case. So instead you have to convert that over to an MPEG-4 file. Now, I already have a video converter. As you see here, it's actually called in the App Store, the video converter. And I already had that installed because Aspen and I like to set out a game camera right outside the fence at our house to catch wild animals and stuff around this tree. As you can see here, we actually got this footage of a wild coyote. So if you do that, you can go in just like you see here, and you can one by one convert the files over that you want. And the cool thing about the file designations, as you see here, it's the date, time, and the channel. In this instance, channel 1 is the front-facing camera. If we had the rear camera installed, then we would also have a channel 2 file. But you're not going to be able to do any of that here in the car, out at the scene of an accident or some other incident where you need dash cam footage. So in reading the Carpuride manual, there is an app that's called Vidure, as you see in this picture here on the App Store. And apparently you can download that and interface with this unit. So let's try that. Now you see here it says add camera. If we hit add camera, it wants to use our location. Install the camera and power it on. We've already done that. All right, now select camera Wi-Fi and connect. So let's go over here to Wi-Fi video. And again, it says CarPlay is connected. Please disconnect first. So let's go back to settings in our phone. If we go to general, we have CarPlay, smart screen maybe. Let's turn CarPlay off. Now we've lost the CarPlay up here. Now we can get into video and recall our files. But remember, even with the file pulled up, you are not allowed to send it. You can only lock or delete it. So let's get out of here. Now we can go back to Wi-Fi video, switch to Wi-Fi video mode. And so now with CarPlay disconnected, perhaps we can go into Wi-Fi. And there's our car link. Let's see if that works. And I believe the manual said the car password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, we are finally showing that we are linked to the Wi-Fi. So let's go back to the Vidure app, hit add camera. And now nothing's happening. Let's try closing out the app and try opening it again. Connection failed. All right, let's go maybe here to Wi-Fi video, switch to Wi-Fi video mode, confirm, maybe this will work. Now we're connected. Let's go back to the app. All right, finally, let's go into files. And we've got a bunch of video files that show connected. Let's see how long it takes to download a 1-minute file. We'll pick one of the same ones from our test drive. Okay, download. Already to 10%, already to 20, 30. That's going really quick. Downloaded. Okay. Is it only downloaded in this app, or does it transfer over to Our camera, no. Does it have its own video file, perhaps? Downloads? No. Can I save it? Yes. Now it's going to my phone's library. Here we go. Done. And then if I go into here, I don't see it yet, but is it maybe giving it an older date? No. All right, so I don't know what save means, but let's try share. Okay, it does bring up your typical screen where you could text it or email it, so I could see finally we're here, we're on an accident scene, and without having to pull the card out, we can go through this arduous process, get the file, and share it with a police officer's file system or with a insurance adjuster. All right, this video is already well over 40 minutes long and I'm running out of shade, as you can see at the top of the van. So let's summarize by saying the user interface with the CarPlay Android Auto functionality is flawless on this device. Retrieving any of the dash cam footage, very clunky. I hope they can come out with some sort of firmware or something to make that easier, because it is unenjoyable, especially at a moment when you might be distracted by everything that's going on when you actually need that video out on the road. So if you found this video helpful, will you please give it a thumbs up? It's really helpful to the algorithms to start suggesting it to more viewers like you. Also, please consider subscribing. I work really hard to put out good quality content. We have a lot more videos to come on our Land Rover LR3 series. In fact, for any of my viewers that are still watching this video and wanted to see that LR3 footage, you are awesome. Thank you so much. So, all you have to do is hit this auxiliary button right on the front of your existing deck if you didn't want to change it out. And then if you go through the back seat down on the center console, flip up this little plastic cover, you will see a port for the included auxiliary cable. All you'd have to do is have that plugged into that spot and then plugged into the unit as I showed you when we were going through the features. And you should get full functionality of this unit in your Land Rover LR3. I'm going to leave a link for this unit in the description below. Full disclosure, that'll be an Amazon affiliate link. So if you click on it and end up making a purchase of any kind, it won't cost you anything, but I do get a small reward at the end of the month. I also want to thank Carpuride for sending me this unit for free. There was no prearranged agreement on what I would say other than going over the features, and they did not request to see the video that I produced before I published it to YouTube. So I think it takes a lot of courage to do that, and I want to thank them for that. Until next time, thank you for watching.